And that is so we can capture the benefit of the various questions that you ask us. They always help us to further refine our FAQs and educate ourselves as well as other issuers about questions and issues you might be having in the portal, as well as in the MFPDM application. I do need to let you know that unfortunately our main presenter, Wade Gale, is dealing with a family emergency today, and he will not be able to join us for a live demonstration of the application. We are also having some issues in our test environment, which is what we use to provide that live demonstration. So what we're going to do for you today is do a quick run through of what we hope to cover via a recorded demonstration that we're going to play for you. Please do note that there are live experts on the line that are able to answer any questions that you have. So you'll notice that at the bottom of your screen, if you have joined us today in the Zoom meeting, there is a Q&A section. You're able to type in questions, as some of you have already figured out. You're able to type questions into that box. So we will have experts available throughout the presentation to answer questions that you may submit. We will also open up at the end of the demonstration for a live question and answer session. So you'll be able to ask questions either over the phone, over your computer audio, or in the chat as well, that way as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into our agenda for today. So I am Letitia Jefferson, as I mentioned, with MyGinnieMae. I am the Customer Experience Group Lead, and I am responsible for rolling out MyGinnieMae to all of our business partners. And that includes some new applications that are available on MyGinnieMae, one of which is the Multifamily Pool Delivery Module. We did already offer a couple sessions of this training after releasing the portal to our multifamily issuers, but we understand that more training is needed, and we are absolutely happy to provide that to you. So once again, as I did mention, we are going to play a recording of a demonstration for you on the MFPDM application, and we will cover most of the points that you see listed here in the agenda. We'll be answering questions throughout the demonstration, and then we will hang in at the end for to answer your questions live. So without any more delay, let's go ahead and get this started.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tawheed Ali from Bank of New York Mellon, and today I'll be assisting with the demo. So as we start, I'll give you an overview of my dashboard on MyGinnieMae, along with the Pools and Loan tab and the Maintenance tab. Now, as you can see on this screen, this is My Dashboard page, which it'll look like after you log into MyGinnieMae. One thing to note, if this is your first time logging in, you will have to click under your name on the top right of the page. And from there, from the Issuer ID dropdown, you will have to select your Issuer ID. Once you do that, the system will refresh and will show all its features as you see on the screen now. Going down, you will see the My Pools Skittles, as we call it. These are the little colorful circles that you see on the screen. They are different statuses of pools that's in your system, starting with all multifamily pools. This will show you the total count of the pools that you have in the system. Now, we also have Draft Status Skittle, which shows the total number of pools that are in draft. Next, we have Submitted for Final Certification, Final Certified, Issued, as well as Tie Pools. Now, this is also known as PIT pools or Immediate Transfer pools. And going down, one of the features MFPDM now has is when you run your edit or business rules on your pools, which we'll talk in more details down the presentation. You do receive a notification here that you can see as messages. Now this will give you the updates on the pools. And here, this is also not limited to the pool notifications, but as well as notification from MyGinnieMae or your account executives. On the top right, if you click on the mail icon, this will also show you the messages. And one of the features here you will see is we have the date and the timestamp of when you receive these messages. Next, we'll go on to the Pools and Loan tab. Once you click on the Pools and Loan tab, again, you're greeted by the Skittles that we just saw on my dashboard. They're also in Pools and Loans tab for you to see. Going down, you will see the different filtering options that we see here. Ready for submission, passed, favorite, rejected, or certified. You can filter the pools that you...
Well, my folks, just want to make sure we don't get blasted with all my notifications here. All right. Yep, just like that one. All right, should be good to go now.
You see below with the statuses, or you can search by the pool ID by entering the pool ID on the search field, or you can take one step further and go to advanced and filter or search by the pool number, pool type, issue date, draw number, custodian number, business rules, pool status, or transfer at issuance or pit pool. And you'll hit apply, and it will filter by the criteria you enter. Below, we can see the list of all the pools that we have, and you'll see the pool number, the pool type, the issue date, the draw number if there is any, the custodian number and their name, business rules. Business rules is when you run the edits, and if the system or the pool passes validations, you will receive a green check mark indicating that it was passed. Next, we have the status of the pools and the issuer ID. Here we also have a star that you can see, which will highlight your pool in case you want to refer to it back in the future or just come back to it for any reasons. And you do this by just clicking on the star and it'll highlight, which you can filter based on the highlighted pools. Next we have the slide out bar here, which if you click, you will get a option to delete the draft pool. You'll also have the option to submit the pool to your document custodian. You can validate the pool, export the pool, and here you will also have the option to generate your docs or your reports. Here you have the option of generating the 11705, the 11706, 11706 with data, the 11711B, the Annex special disclosure, edit reports, and the non-level provision. Moving on, we'll go on to the maintenance tab that you see on top. Here you will see your information for your Annex special disclosure, the non-level payment provision, the subscribers, and the document information. Now here you have the option of editing and adding the information, and the way you do this is by clicking on edit, and you will have the add option. So if you wanted to add your special Annex disclosure, you click on add, and here you will enter your identifier and description. Also note that the These are also deletable, which will allow you to delete. And you can do the same for your non-level payment provision, your subscribers information with the ABA account number and the deliver to instruction. And here you have your document custodian, which you can edit the address field. And once you're satisfied with the data that you have entered, you can then click Save, and it will save the information for you. As I haven't entered any data, it's giving me a red mark indicating to either enter the data or cancel, as I have not put any information. And now I'll hand it over to Wade, who will talk about a little bit about creating pools and entering the data for the pool. So I'll hand it over to Wade.
Thank you, Mr. Tawid. That was fast again. You're really as Peter Gonzalez these last couple of days with this session, but that's okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Wade Gale here, manager of the GinnieMae Customer Support Group at BNY Mellon. And welcome to, of course, MFPDM training. And I know everybody's looking forward to this. So let's get into this so we can go and enjoy our long weekend. So what we're going to do first as part of our process, we're just going to go through, we're going to go through one of the pools that's currently on the system. Of course, we're going to go through a field pool just to give you an idea what the fields look like and also what the draw screen look like. And then we go in and try and enter a PN pool from start to actually submission, so you'll see what it is. Most likely the pool that we're going to enter is a pool that we know will pass the edit, so just to give you a true entry so you'll see how everything goes. So that's what we're going to do. So let's try and bring up a CL pool that we can show the users what the new system is going to look like. And of course, as we go along, you might hear some terms that you're not used to in GinnieNet, so we'll try and explain those to you so you'll see how they will relate in terms of what you're doing in MFPDM. And of course, the look and feel of the system is a little bit different from GinnieNet, so I think that might help you to actually maneuver the system a little bit better. First thing, we'll talk about the section in the blue section there. You'll see that section follows you everywhere you go in terms of within the pool. First of all, we start out with shows the pool number. Then we have the star, which we select this pool as a favorite, so it actually shows favorite there. This pool is in a draft status, so that's why it has the draft right there. The information that we're looking at now is actually totally filled in because we're looking at the pool that we actually entered. But in your world, in your space, when you're entering this, those fields will be blank. So these are some of the fields that we're going to populate as we move from screen to screen. So we have the issue type, of course, X is multifamily. We have the issue date, business rules. Now, that's a new term to the MFPDM people because we're used to saying apply GenMae edits or GenMae edits. So now we have to get used to remembering the business rules. And then we have the project loan, which you have already used to, draw number, pool type, pool number, mortgage amount, submission type, security rate, interest rate, and mortgage rate. So as we go along, we'll see those fields filled in with the appropriate data. And going down, we have the section where it shows the person who's actually working on the pool. So right now it says we're in a UAT user ID, so it would have your name would have been there if you were the one who went in and created the pool. And if you went in and also edit the pool, it would say the last person who edited the pool. But if another co-worker decided to go and mess with your pool, it will show that person's name there, that they went in, Beverly Jones went in and edited Wade's pool. So it will show the last person who went in and edited the pool information there. So that's a little security check there. And we have the document custodian. It shows you who your document custodian is. Of course, that's the one that was approved for your 2020 master agreement process. And then in the last section would show your account executive. That's everybody I think in the multifamily group or world know their account executive at GinnieMae. It's usually show the person's name and their phone number. So that will fill in when you actually log into Fpdm in your world, in your space. Okay, let's try and look at the different screens that we have here in Fpdm. We're going to look at pool detail, loans, and then draw history detail. This is at CL, so we just want to give you a little flavor of what it actually looks like. So let's go into the pool detail. And of course, you're going to notice that's a little bit different. In GenNet, we do mention it as the 11705. Here, we're just calling it pool detail, so you'll get used to that. In the pool detail, we have tried to put it in sections so it's a little bit easier to follow, and also we can collapse these areas so it's much easier for the user to work with. You don't have to have everything open all the time when you're doing your processing, so it's a little bit easier, user friendly to actually process your work. So we're just going to go through the screens here, what's actually on the screen. We have the pool number, we have the issue date, the issue type, the pool type, and the submission type. That makes up the pool header. Once that information is in, let's go down to the general information of the pool now. These are the things that we call you must have. You have the pool tax ID, that 9-digit number. You have the initial pay date, the delivery date when your securities will be settled. You have the unpaid balance date. You have our amortization date. It's always concurrent for multifamily pools, CD. And then we have the rate section. You have the security interest rate, mortgage interest rate, and the servicing fee. Of course, some of those fields are going to be blank, but because it's a complete pool, that's why it's actually displayed on the screen right now. You have the PL/CL security rate, and also your maturity date, and your your deferred first principal payment date, and your cross-reference pool number, since you're going to need that for your PN. So that makes up the general information on the pool. Then we go down to the section now of the master agreement. And of course, these agreements are the data here is what was actually approved in MAMS for 2020. So we are able to bring this information in Fpdm. Just like in your GenNet world, we also bring the accounts that are certified and approved for 2020. It will be the same thing in Fpdm. So we have the custodian information, and if there was a subservicer, of course, the information would have filled out there. And you have the P&I principal and interest account with the ABA and the federal routing number information, and also the P&I. Not the P&I, wait. Also the account number. Then we go down to the escrow, has the ABA number and the federal routing number, and also the account. And of course, it's just displaying one, but if you had entered or approved many accounts, you'd have actually seen them, then you can pick from the listing. Down to our subscriber, and of course, this is your delivery instructions. And most people, and I do recommend this, set up your delivery instructions if they're basically the same instruction. Set it up in the maintenance section. So when you actually go in, setting up your pool, you can actually pick from the listing. So you have your description and of your total position, of course, the amount that the pool amount is going to be issued at. Now, this is a new feature that we'll find in Fpdm, because in GenNet, you notice the certification and agreement page or screen used to be by itself. Now we have incorporated this as a part of the pool detail section. So when you're actually setting up the pool, you just go right into certification agreement instead of have to go out and come back in. So I think the user will find it's much user-friendly in terms of you don't have to toggle from one end to the next to actually finish your pool. So on this screen, of course, you'll know there are two statements, and you should know which one of these statements apply to the pool that you're doing. And then the last section, we have the pool stats. Just going to give you some information from the pool, the data that you entered. So we just highlight some of the information in the P&I payment amount, the UPB, the FHA total, the UPB amount, the USDA rural development total, if that's a loan type you're doing, the UPB amount, and additional information about the weighted average. So those things are actually displayed there from the data elements that were entered in. So that's a quick look at the pool detail. Now let's drive and go right into our loan. And of course, most users know that for multifamily, if you're doing a sale, most likely it's one loan most of the time. Your RX, I think your LS pools might have more than one loan. So let's go. This is what it would display like before you actually go into the loan. So we have the issuer loan number, case number, the mortgage amount, the security interest rate, and the mortgage interest rate. So those things are already displayed. To actually display the screen, let's click on the loan number. And just remind you, we are in our UAT environment, so sometimes you might see things just run a little bit slow, but I think we're doing pretty good today. Now again, we try and make sure put the screen in sections, so it might be easier for the user when they're actually doing setting up the information in a manual form, and we can collapse here too, just like what we showed on the pool details screen. So I think that's kind of cool. We didn't have that in GinnieMae, so hooray to Fpdm people for putting this in. So on the general information screen, we have the loan number, the issuer loan number. Of course, this is your internal loan number that you will be able to identify the loan in your system with. We have the mortgage type. We have the mortgage interest rate. And we have this section that's balloon payment. And just recently we added balloon payment to Fpdm because this was one of those reasons that we were finding a lot of users were issuing some balloon payments, but they had to do those pools in a manual form. So if you're one of those balloon payment issuers, you should be jumping for joy and saying, yes, yes, finally, Fpdm, I can do my balloon payments on Fpdm. So we'll just give you an idea what happens, how it works. Can we edit this, or we'll show this when we're doing the data entry, Toheed?
During the data entry.
Do this. Okay, good. Okay, fine. So for the balloon payment, so we ask a couple of questions, and is this a balloon payment? You have yes or no. Then we have the amortization basis term. We have the years and the months. And then we have just a little statement there. This pool does not conform to a straight line amortization schedule. This amortization schedule is properly disclosed. So we have that there, and then you have to confirm it. And then I think when the information is saved, it brings up approximate balloon payment amount. So that's what that screen is all about. So we can go into it a little bit when we go into setting up a pool in a manual pool. So the mortgage amount section, now we have the original principal balance, the P&I, and the unpaid principal balance. Then we go over to the term of mortgage. And you'll notice now we're now displaying the term of mortgage on the loan detail screen, and currently in GinnieMae, that's on the pool detail screen. So that's a big difference there. And you'll also notice now we're not only doing years alone, we're now doing years and months. And I know over the years, the multifamily users have actually asked for this. So we do listen, so we try to please. So this is one of those with, you have the years and months now, but it's not located anymore on the pool detail. It's now on the loan details page. Then you have the payment dates, first payment date and last payment date. Then we go down to the mortgage note section. We have the loan origination date, and we have the initial endorsement date. We go over to where we find our prepayment provision information. So prepayment provision, then you have the lockout term, the lockout end date, prepayment premium period, prepayment end date and the prepayment description. So all those things are in by themselves. They're not scattered all over the page. And we have the mom and min and mom indicator. If that loan is registered to MERS, you'll put in the 18 digits, and then you'll say yes or no if it's registered. We have the agency details, so we kind of put everything that we think should fit in one area, so it's much easier for you to maneuver and easier for you to read as a user. We have the agency detail with the FHA USDA case number, if it's that kind of loan you're doing. You have the loan type code, of course, and you have the section of the act. And you have the development costs, is also all of those things we put in one section. So after that, we go down to ratio. Those two fields right now are on the system, but they're not. No data is generated for those as yet. So, but GenMed asked us to put those on for a while. They're also in the current system. The Annex special disclosure. You notice we have the identifier now. That's a little bit different. You can set up your description in a certain way. If you're doing a PN pool or you have any extra things to go with it, you can make that a part of your identifier. So when you bring up that identifier now, you know that the correct description information is actually going to append to that pool. You have the non-level payment provision. Is basically the same way it works to identify it and then bring up the correct description that goes along with that pool and the identifier. And we have the non-level payment schedule, and then the mortgager information. Name of mortgager. We have the property site, address, city, and state, and the zip code. So that gives you just a quick run through what the loan detail looks like. Now let's run over to the draw history detail. Hope everybody's enjoying their Friday afternoon as we make the change to the new page. Here it is. And again, you notice we had talked earlier about the blue section, that little blue section up the top there with all that pool data. You notice that now it follows us to, we can't get rid of it in Fpdm, so it's gonna be your best friend. It's gonna be a part of the pool right through to the end, but it's a good thing. So you'll see that as you do the data entry, the available screen or fields are filled in with the data. Now on the draw screen, this looks completely different from what you're used to in the current GinnieMae. So we have the draw number, we have the draw issue date, we have the advance number, and I should just mention on the advance, since we're not actually going to show a draw pool in our demonstration. In the current GinnieMae, you have advance 1 to 3, 1 to 2, 1 to 5. In Fpdm now, you can actually list those. If you have 5 advances for that one draw, you can do draw 1, a dollar amount, draw 2, a dollar amount. So that's one of the differences to Fpdm compared to GinnieMae. So I think users will like this also, so they can actually list them instead of putting all those draws or advances in one lump sum. Then you have the advance amount, which hasn't changed, cumulative approved amount, requested amount, cumulative requested amount, and the remaining advance amount. That is different. We never had that in GinnieMae. Sometimes there's always some remainder, some little piece, dollar amount, 50 cents, 3 cents, 4 cents left over. You can actually put that down because you might need this information when you're actually doing the conversion. So at least we make a space for that, and of course we have the status there if the pool is certified, draft, or issued. And then at the bottom we have the approved amount to date, cumulative amount, requested amount. That's what the pool is gonna be issued as, and the mortgage amount. So that's the screen for the draw itself. So okay, so I'm finished with the actual screen, just viewing the screen, so we can open this up for for questioning. Letitia, do you want to take over, please?
I think this was one of the breaks during the original video, Letitia. Not sure if we want to stop again for questions or just keep on going.
Yeah, actually, let's go ahead and take a break because we've had a few questions come in and I'm guessing that there's probably some more out there. So now might be a good time to open up for questions. So here's what we're going to do, guys. Like I mentioned, we do have some experts on the line joining us to answer your questions about MFPDM. If you have questions up to this point, if you've joined today's audio using your computer, you can go to the bottom of your screen and raise your hand to indicate to Ian that you would like to have us unmute your line for you to ask a question. If you've joined today's session over the phone, please hit *9. That will indicate for Ian that you would like us to unmute your line so you can ask a question over the phone. So if you have questions about what we've covered up to this point, please raise your hand or hit *9 so that we can unmute the line and get your questions in now. I do have a question from Melinda McNeil. Melinda, I just want you to know that we are taking a look at where we can find that mapping for you to share. So we are working on that one. Any other questions on the line before we proceed?
Yes, we have one raised hand here.
Okay.
Bhavna Patel, you can speak.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. The remaining amount in the last that Wade explained, is it just for information purpose, or will it being used for any calculation? And also, can I enter negative amount, because sometimes the draws are rounded up or sometimes they are rounded down. So.
Okay, I see that someone's trying to answer that question, but we can't hear you. Can you please make sure that you're unmuted? Is it Vicky, Tauheed, Jeff?
My apologies. Can you restate the question? I was answering one of the questions through the Q&A section there.
Bhavna, do you mind restating the question?
Oh, sure. So the remaining amount filled, does it take positive and negative both the numbers, or it will only be positive? And the second question is it only for information purpose, or is it used for balance adjustment or some kind of calculation?
So it should account for either positive or negative with that, and it's more of an informational item for you going forward.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then we have Jennifer Burke. If you unmute your line, Jennifer, you can talk. Oh, your head went down. I'm going to assume that means you don't want to talk anymore. That's it, Letitia, for right now.
Okay. All right, well, let's go ahead and go back into the demonstration then. Ian, I can't remember where we were at, if we actually opened up for question inside of the video, but if we did. Okay, yeah.
Yep, I scrubbed forward, so we should be good.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miss Letitia. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Now we're going to try and enter a pool. So we're going to pretend that we got into MFPDM and we're ready to go. We did all our checks. We read our user manual and we said, I think I can enter this PN for my first February issue pool. So let's try that. First, we have to go to the area that says Add Pool. So let's click on that button. Now, although in Fpdm we still give you two options. You can add the pool manually, or you can build an import file and import the pools. Although we had that function in GinnieMae, but over the years, speaking to my multifamily users, most of them tend to go to the data entry manual route. So that's what we're going to show today. But you do have it. And Toyid, you wanted to say something about this piece down here. You can go.
Yes. So one thing to note. When you are importing a pool, you will have the option to run the business rules as it comes into the system, as well as if you have an existing pool that you would like to override with the new updated information you're trying to import, you can select the override prior file submission option, and it'll do that for you. Wade.
Thank you, sir. Now let's click on Enter Manually. We're going to enter that pool manually. Now we're on to the pool detail, and you notice right up my favorite section, the blue section, it's not filled in. It's all blank now because we're just starting. As we go along, you'll see, as we progress through the process, you'll see the information change up there. So we're going to start out with our pool, the header information. Pool number. Of course, everybody knows that the pool numbers are assigned to you, and you have to go into RPN and generate your pool number, request your pool numbers. But also, there's another check here. If a pool number does not belong to you, issuer 1, 2, 3, 4, and you put in the wrong that number, the system tells you right up front. Pool number may be assigned to another issuer or may not yet be available in your system. So right away, you're going to get a stop on that. That's a good thing. The reason why, because in our current system, this stop is at the back, on the back end. When the pool comes into BNY Mellon for processing, that's when we get an exception. Now, because of this new check up front, you should not be able to come in with a pool that does not belong to your issuer number. So that's a good thing on MFPDM right now. We have the pool number, so he did put in the correct number now. So we're going to the issue date. And of course, it's the same thing in like issue, month, and 1. You can do your February issue pool. And if you're ready to start doing your March issue pool, you have the ability to do that also. Issue type, that part is already filled in. You don't have to do no drop down and select anything. Pool type, we're going to do, it's a PN non-level. And in the submission type, it's only going to deal with the information that has to do with the pool type. So you won't see a CL or RX information in there. It's only going to do with what you select in the pool type. So we're going to do 4 for initial project. So that's our pool header, and that was pretty simple. Now let's go down to the general information piece. Now we have to enter our pool tax ID number, and you know you have to get that from the IRS when you do your request. You have the initial pay date, fill in, then we're going to select our delivery date. And again, you can do the manual entry, or you can actually choose the date by going through the calendar. And you have the unpaid balance date also already filled in. And this amortization method, that's new because we usually select from a list. So we don't have to do that anymore. It's already there. It's concurrent, so there's nothing else to select. You're in the rate section. Let's put in the security interest rate. And of course, the other field would fill in as we fill in all the other appropriate data. Then our maturity date. And we can select the maturity date by bringing down the calendar also. Now for our master agreement. Again, I have to mention that master agreements are going to show there because these are the accounts that were approved for 2020 for that particular issuer. So that's why we're selecting from the list here. Sub-servicer, we didn't approve a sub-servicer for 2020, so we don't have anything to select from. We have transferred to issuer. Yesterday, someone had asked, what is tie? And if you, I don't know if most of the multifamily people might not get into doing PIT pools that are a transfer at issuance. So you do the pool, but it's transferred to someone else, and the pool is now in their hands, and they'll do the payments the next month. That's transfer at issuance. So we're not going to do a transfer at issuance, so we're going to say no. Well, the principal and interest account, so we choose from the list. Again, these are all the master agreement information. Then the escrow information, we're just going to click on add and select from the list. And let's select also the account number. And subscriber, that's our delivery instructions. So we're going to add. Since we have already added the delivery instruction on the maintenance screen, we can just select it from the list. And if you have added information to put as part of our delivery instructions, you have the ability to put that in on description. That piece does not print on 11705, but when we send this information over to the Fed, all that trail goes over to the Fed as part of the delivery instructions. And we have the position amount, which is the amount that's going to be issued without cents, of course. Once that's done, we go to the certification and agreement. Now, this is the form I mentioned earlier, was outside of this pool details screen. Now we brought it in as part of that process. And there are two statements, and you should, the user, know which one of these statements goes along with the pool you're doing. If you choose the first statement, you will need to submit that form 11711A to your custodian. So you just want to be careful. And just to let you know, that form right now is still a manual form. You still have to find it, fill it out, and forward it to your custodian if you choose the first statement. If you choose the second, you don't need to actually send that form 11711A to your custodian. So basically, we're done. The only thing we want to do now, just check everything is good, and then we're going to go to our Save button and save. And just cross our fingers, save in pool, make sure everything is done. And our pool detail is done. And if you look up top, my favorite section, the blue section, it's filling out quite nicely. We're getting our pool data elements up there. So so we just have to now concentrate on the loan. And of course, where it says business rules, not yet run, which is true because we usually run that after we have entered the loan detail. So I'm feeling good. I'm really feeling good. It's a Friday. It's a long weekend. Let's put in those loans, or the one loan. Let's click on loan and proceed. Let's add the loan. There's no loan available right now, so let's click on add. Put that loan in. And we're going to start off with the general information. We're going to add the loan number, issue a loan number. The mortgage type, we're going to choose FHA. We're going to have the mortgage interest rate. And this is the balloon payment that we had mentioned. Now, if we say yes, we're just going to do yes for the term, and it comes up and say amortization basis method. You put in your years, then you have that little disclosure at the bottom there, and then you confirm. That's basically what we do for balloon payment. Are we taking it out, or we're going along with it, Toheed? We're going along with it. Okay, cool. So let's do the mortgage amount, the original principal balance. And of course, if you don't have a balloon payment, it's going to be in a no mode, just to let you know that. Unpaid balance. The principal and interest. And and the terms of mortgages, years and months now, which is new to MFPDM, and a first payment date and last payment date. The structure is a little bit different, so we can just slide in, make it a little bit easier than I would set up in our current GinnieNet system. So after that information is in, let's go on to the mortgage note, loan origination date, and initial endorsement date. And let's finalize this. Okay, cool. And all those screens that has the date, you still can actually pick from the calendar if that works best for you. Then we have the prepayment provision area. Are there any prepayment provision? If we have yes, we're going to choose no. If we have yes, you have to go in and fill in all the necessary information there. For the lockout term, the lockout and the prepayment premium, prepayment end date, and prepayment description. And then we're going if this loan is registered with MERS, of course it's going to have a MIN number, but we're going to say no so we can move on. And of course the agency detail, we're going to put in the FHA information for that particular loan, and we're going to pick the loan type, which is only going to come up with FHA multifamily. Then we have the section of the act, and we select that. The development cost is, we don't need to fill that in. Then we're going to move down to the Annex special disclosure. Of course, as we had set up our identifier with the description already, so we can just choose that information. And Jeff, do you want to say anything about copying here? If just to give since you're on the line, I know you're. Do you want to just say something on this page before we move on?
Sure. So for Annex special disclosures and non-level payment provisions, from the takeaway that we took from GinnieNet was that there was a lot of text in here. So identifying some of them might have been difficult, which is why we split it into the identifier and the description. So the description is what you would normally think of as one of the values in GinnieNet. However, for MFPDM, that is your full description, and then you have an identifier, which is just something that you can quickly pick from to obtain that value. If you, say, want to use a similar value, but not exactly the same, so you have your items in your maintenance section, so your Annex special disclosures or your non-level payments, you have those values in your maintenance section. If you want to copy one of these, if you want to copy a value and put it into a new value, modifying some of the text, you're able to do so by clicking the copy button. I don't think we're going to do it right now, but you would click the copy button at the bottom. It would come up as a new entry for the field. You could modify the description, you could modify the identifier, and then there's also an option there to checkbox that says save to maintenance. So if this is a one-off value, you don't have to check that box, and it would just save it for this particular pool. However, if it is, or loan, excuse me, if it is something that you want to use again in the future, and you check that save for maintenance box, the next time you come in and fill out a loan, that will be a new identifier that you're able to select from the dropdown. Thanks, Wade.
Thank you, sir. Now let's continue with entering the data. There's no non-level payment schedule, right? No. Okay, we're going to put the mortgager. Oh, I'm glad you remember from yesterday. Wade G Hospital, please. Not just Wade G. Wade Gale Hospital. The property site address. The city. And the state and the zip code. Cool. I'm telling you, if I was working in the issuer shop, I'll be just jumping for joy because this seems very easy to me, and Wade Gale likes easy. So I know I'll be able to enter this information with my eyes closed, although I'm not the best typist, but that's another story. Let's see what happens when we try and save our data. Loan has been successfully saved. Click to validate. So let's see what happens now. Our information is saved. And notice now our blue section. Let's go back to our sharing blue section. The pool amount, the mortgage amount, and some of the other information is now filled in. But to notice now we have where it says business rules says not yet run. Because, you know, in GenNet, we enter these things, and the last thing we usually have to do is that apply GenMae edits. So this is the same thing that we're doing now, but it's called the business rule. So those are some of the differences we have to get used to. And right up the top, you notice the screen comes up and it has the word validate. I'm going over the other one. Yes, has the word validate. So we have to validate the pool to make sure everything is okay. And this is when our heart might skip a beat a little bit faster for the first, because we want to make sure everything goes well. And we think we entered all the information. We got a notice over on the screen, so let's actually bring up the notice saying, but business rule validation completed. Business rule validation successfully completed. And let's click on and the pool number right there, and what does it do? Take us back to the screen where we started. Cool. And what do you notice now where it says business rule? Business rule passed. This was a very simple pool. We try not to put too many errors in it, so we could just show a clean pool, so to give the users an idea what the data entry fields are and how simple we think it is, and I hope you will feel the same way. Let's click on more. And on the more is where you can, for instance, you set up your information and you say you're not setting this pool, you can actually delete the pool, delete the entire pool there. And if you need to do an export, you can do an export on the file itself, because mostly you tend to export data to your other systems and do your monthly reports, but you can do it here, or you can wait until the pool is issued to actually do the export. And another introduction, you hear the word docs. Well, we're kind of cool like that in Fpdm, so we just say, oh, why do we call it reports? Let's just call it docs. Why not? And when we click on docs, it brings up the forms that we're used to: 11705, 11706, 11706 with data, 11711B, the Annex, the edit reports, and then the non-level payment provision. So basically the same thing that we are used to in GenNet. What I'll suggest, if you want to print your documents now, just to view them, you can. But if you want to print your documents, I would suggest you print your documents after you submit, so that FTN is append to the submission. So you want, let's just print show 11705 before we move on. Thank you, sir. And it's generated, the notes at the bottom. So this is a little bit different, and I think the users will like this, because in GenNet you had to go to a completely different area like a network and wait until it changed status from submitting to processing, then available. It's a little bit different now. Once you generate it, it's available right away on your screen. So I think the user will like the quickness in getting your reports. And this is what the reports actually look like. Show all the information that was entered still on the system. The section for your master agreements is filled in. We didn't have any sub-servicer, so that piece is blank. And if you go further down on the screen, it's blank right now because we have not done the submission. So once it's submitted, you can have the name and title of that person fill in and on the form itself. So that's 11705. That's what it actually looks like. we'll try and print another form when we actually go through the submission. Okay, submission. We talk about submission. So we think we're good. I think I remember what my RSA token is, so I'm going to go through and do my submission. Certification, the screen says, pool submitted for certification as past business rule and is hereby submitted for certification. The pool number shows up. Then you're going to click on Secure ID. And then you're going to put in your 4-digit PIN. Nothing has changed. The screen just looked a little bit different. And then the 6-digit passcode that comes from that RSA fob. And once you have validated that and that's okay, you just click on the button Submit. If everything is okay, it goes through a couple of things. Submit in pools. The authentication failed. Isn't that special? It's on a Friday when we want to get away. Let's try it again. But hey, it does happen in the real world. So let's try and get this right. Cool. I know it could have been that we put in the wrong number or the time went out. Or the time elapsed, so we didn't get to put in the correct number again. So the pool is in draft. We're going to refresh because we got a successful submit. So let's refresh. To get the status. Pool is locked for editing. Oh, Jeff, you usually have something you said here about some synchronization stuff. I can't know what you said. Can you just repeat it? I've heard it a couple times, but I still don't. I can't repeat it verbatim. So can you explain that? What's happening now? Oh, Jeff.
I'm sitting here talking on mute. My apologies. So, as Wade is referring to, MFPDM is set up to run in an asynchronous process. So, what does that mean to you? It means that, just as we've seen here, as Wade has mentioned multiple times, this is the UAT environment. So, the processing did take a few extra seconds. Normally, it would come back pretty quickly, but here it took a couple of seconds to come back. But that asynchronous process is beneficial to the end user in that so you can submit for certification and move on to do other pools. You don't have to sit there and wait for the processing to complete. As you can see, as Tawheed has shown here on the screen, you do receive a notification when that processing is complete, where we can see that it has been submitted for certification. But what that also means is that sometimes whenever you're viewing a pool, the status may not change. If you get a notification, you may just have to click that refresh button in order to show the latest information on the pool itself. So I believe Tawheed's going into the pool here, which will show that updated status at the top is submitted for final certification.
Okay. Cool. Thank you very much, sir. So just wanted to say a couple of things before we go into recall. You said, as Jeff had mentioned, right above the pool number, a blue favorite section with our orange star. No, I see blue, orange, and white. That tells me that's the New York Knicks colors, but who cares? New York Knicks suck. Anyways, submit for final cert. You see that submit for final certification up top. And also, you notice on the screen itself, the FTN is also appended. Of course, you have the 4-digit issuer number, the 6-digit custodian number, the pool number, issue type, pool type, time, the date, time, and security check digit to make it 32-digit. That still goes along with the pool. And you also see who submitted the pool, submitted by Maribel and MF issuer. That's one of our test IDs. And so the pool is now submitted, and it's waiting. And a notice right now has actually gone over to your custodian, telling them that pool ABCD or whatever the pool number is out there to be processed. And just to let you know, the custodians are still certifying these pools in GinnieNet. Yes, they're still certifying the pools in their GinnieNet system. Okay, we submitted this pool and we were so happy. Then we realized, darn, I made a mistake in the address, and I really want to bring back this pool before the custodian gets it. In the GinnieNet space, you're used to the word delete from the network. We have changed it a little bit in Fpdm. Now we're calling, if you need to delete a pool that was submitted, we're going to call it a recall. So we're going to try and perform the recall here just to make sure you can see what we're talking about. We're going to put in the PIN, the 4-digit PIN, because that's the same pool we just submitted. So we want to show you a couple of the communication features. We're going to put in the passcode, and we're going to click on recall. The word recall comes up. It says recall in pool. And the pool has been successfully recalled. And right away, you're going to notice after we do a refresh, the recall, the edit is available, so you can go in and edit the pool and make changes. And you notice one more thing before the pool is, you still have the submit button again, because it's once you do that, you can submit. And the status is now, let's check the status, says draft. So it doesn't say submit for final search now, because we recall it and we're going to make some changes to it. So that is one of those things we can also do. Yes, so you were going over more? And so you were pointing on to more. Delete, good. You know what, I set up this pool and I realized I don't need to set up this pool for now, so I'm just going to delete the pool. Now, the word delete comes in that way. It's a true delete now. When you delete something on the system, that pool goes away. That's the difference with delete and recall. Recall, you're recalling from the network a pool that was submitted. Deleting, you're deleting the pool and it's gone. You might want to set it up again for next month. So that's some of the differences. Let's just do one more thing before we finish. Let's go back to docs and just print that we can print 11705 again, just to show that the information was appended with the. Oh, we recall the pool. Oh, my bad. I wanted to show you the FTN number on it, but it would have been, the FTN number would have been on there. Thanks, Toyd. We did recall the pool. My bad on that. So this is multifamily MFPDM in a nutshell. I find it to be a very easy system. The users who are using the system right now as on pilots and the early adopters, they like the system. I should tell you we have issued over 2,004, almost 400 pools, 2,400 pools with almost close to $12 billion on the system so far. So once you get set up from your org admins and you get your end user credentials and you log.
All right, everyone. So that is actually the end of the demonstration. So we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to go ahead and open it up for, we're going to go ahead and open up our PowerPoint presentation and finish out our presentation before we have a Q&A session. Okay. So I'm actually going to call on Jeff Janowski, if you can unmute your line.
Yes, Letitia.
Yeah, do you mind running through some of these FAQs regarding MFPDM before we move into our next our Q&A session?
Sure.
Perfect.
Absolutely. Give me a second. Let me get rid of the questions here. All right. So these are some of the commonly asked questions. Some of them have actually been asked and answered in the Q&A section here in the Zoom meeting, but we can go over them again. Starting out with the first one, which pooling system should I use to create new multifamily pools? So once you have access to MFPDM, MFPDM is to be used to create and submit all new multifamily pools. There will not be a parallel period. All the pools that are processed via MFPDM are production pools, and it is recommended that all new pools be submitted through MFPDM. However, you still do have access to GinnieMae. Number 2, which pooling system should I use for existing multifamily pools? All existing pools that were created in GinnieMae will remain in GinnieMae. This includes for subsequent draws for construction loan pools as well as for conversion. Any new pools should go through MFPDM. Number 3, can I view pools entered via MFPDM in GinnieMae? Yes. Once a pool has been submitted for final certification, it can be viewed in GinnieMae as the certification and issuance of pools will continue as it does today. Number 4, how do I view error messages and warnings on MFPDM? Import errors as well as fatal and warning messages can be viewed on the pool details and loan details pages. Also, users can download an edits report under the MFPDM docs menu option. Number 5, where do I access pool reports and HUD forms? Just as the previous question, all HUD forms will be available to download and thus print from the MFPDM docs menu option. Number 6, how should I submit pools for recertification? Users will continue to process pools for recertification in the GinnieMae application. Next up, will there be any changes in monthly reporting? No, all reporting will remain unchanged and continue forward as is. What is the definition of a pool in the draft status? So for MFPDM, all the pools that have not yet been submitted for final certification are marked as a draft pool. Can I validate a pool without submitting? Yes. Once a pool is saved, users select the validate button at any time to run the business rules engine. Also, when a user selects to submit a pool, the validations are run automatically just to ensure that nothing has changed in that pool. What is the difference between delete and recall of a pool in MFPDM? So in GinnieMae world, the delete, I'm actually going to flip the answer around here. The delete action is something that is used to both essentially recall a pool from submitted for final certification, as well as to actually delete the pool. So we split it into 2 separate actions. The recall action is available to users with an authorized signer role and allows the user to revert a pool that is in the submitted for final certification or the final certified state, so long as the pool has not yet been swept to the mainframe. Recalling the pool will take it from either submitted for final certification or final certified back to the draft status. Delete is an action that is available to all users for pools that are in the draft status. Deleting a pool removes it entirely from the system. If a user is looking to reuse a pool number, this is the way to do it. They can delete a draft pool and reuse that pool number. A user can also choose to delete a loan from a pool under these loan details screens. You can delete both a loan by itself or delete the entire pool. Number 11, what is the difference between an authorized signer and a data entry user? Data entry users and authorized signers are both able to create, update, and delete pools in draft status. However, data entry users may submit a pool to authorized signers for their review and submission to the document custodian. In order to submit something to the document custodian, you must be an authorized signer. And for ease of use, there is, so if a data entry user submits a pool to an authorized signer, there is a filter in the pools and loans page that says ready for submission. And this identifies all of the pools that a data entry user has submitted to an authorized signer so that they can filter them out and that they can submit them. Number 12, will the document custodian use the MFPDM module to certify and reject our pools? No, document custodians will continue to use GinnieMae to certify and reject pools. Will I still receive notice via e-notification when pools are certified? Yes, users will receive an e-notification and a portal message when pools are final certified by the document custodian. Is there an export-import function on MFPDM? This is question number 14. Yes, users can both import and export pools using MFPDM. Number 15, where do I go if I have questions concerning MFPDM? Again, this was something that was talked about in the chat, the Q&A. Say, please consult the MFPDM user manual for step-by-step instructions on using the applications. If you're in need of additional support, you can contact the GinnieMae customer support at the number listed in the presentation here, or you can email GinnieMae1@bnymellon.com. It's noted here on the subject line, please add MFPDM as a reference. Number 16, where do I go if I have questions concerning MyGinnieMae? For general and release and training questions, as well as feedback and comments about MyGinnieMae, they can be directed to the GinnieMae Customer Experience Group at cxg@hud.com, or hud.gov, excuse me. And if you require assistance with gaining access or with your account, you can refer to your organization administrator, formerly known as a security officer or enrollment administrator at your organization. For general troubleshooting and system errors, they are explained in the MyGinnieMae Getting Started manual, or you may consult GinnieMae customer support for any other additional information.
Thank you, Jeff. So we're getting ready to open up for our question and answer session. And Jeff already covered some of these items, but if you would like to get to today's presentation, a recording of today's presentation, the user materials, previously recorded presentations, all of that information is available on the modernization page at GinnieMae.gov. If you go to GinnieMae.gov and hover over issuers, you drop down under issuer training and you'll see that modernization page. Everything that you need is there, including the MFPDM user manual. If you have general questions about how to navigate MyGinnieMae, you'll want to start with the MyGinnieMae Getting Started user manual. And again, as we already mentioned, if you got some technical questions about using the MFPDM application, by all means, reach out to GinnieMae customer support. If you have general questions, you're welcome to reach out to GinnieMae at the customer experience group, cxg@hud.gov. We are going to have a survey that we're going to ask for you to complete to let us know how things went today, if we were able to get to your questions and provide a demonstration of the items that you wanted to see covered. So please look in the chat. Ian is about to post a link for you to complete a survey. We do take your feedback very seriously. Phil Buckley, our director of the multifamily team, is already asked to make sure he sees those survey results. So please do provide us some good feedback so that we know how we did and how we can improve. Again, thank you for understanding as we did have an emergency and we're not able to bring Wade in to conduct today's session. We are going to host an additional MFPDM session next month. Hopefully we'll be able to do a live demonstration and our test environment will hopefully cooperate at that point in time so that we can do that for you. So if there is something in particular that we were not able to demonstrate and you would like to see it in the next iteration of this training, definitely mention that in the comments of your feedback survey. So again, if you check the chat, Ian has posted a link for you to get to the survey to provide us some feedback on today's session. So now we're going to go ahead and open it up for question and answer. So if you have additional questions about anything that you saw, as I mentioned, we have several experts on the line. Vicky Mirage, Jeff Janofsky, and Tauhid Ali, all from the Bank of New York Mellon, are available to answer technical questions about the multifamily pool delivery module. If you join today's audio using your computer, raise your hand at the bottom of the screen. If you join today's audio using your phone line, hit *9 to let us know you'd like us to unmute your line. Or if you would prefer to type it, you can open up that Q&A box and type your question in that way. So again, we're opening for question and answer now. *9 if you're on a phone line, raise your hand from the bottom of the screen if you joined using your computer audio. So I do have a question in the Q&A. Is the GinnieNet and GMEP portal still going away mid-early May? Where do we go for questions pertaining to GinnieNet and the new MFPDM? I don't know where you heard that GinnieNet and GMEP are going away, but that is incorrect. GMEP and GinnieNet remain in place. You use MyGinnieMae to access GMEP, GinnieNet, and MFPDM, but the old portal and GinnieNet are not going anywhere. So they will still be in play. And if you have questions about how to use GinnieNet or MFPDM, please use this information that you see on the screen right now. The user materials are posted on the modernization page of GinnieMae.gov. And if you're encountering errors or other issues, please let GinnieMae customer support assist you at 1-833-GNMA-HELP or GinnieMae1@bnymellon.com. Let's see here. Next question. Okay, Nancy, I got your question. Can you please add that to your feedback when you complete that survey? And we'll work on making sure that we incorporate that into another demonstration. Thank you for that input.
There should also be a section, sorry, Letitia, there should also be a section in the MFPDM user manual that should describe exactly how to do so. If you, please add it in the feedback, but if you're looking for a quick answer, that's your good way to find it.
Thank you. And that user manual is on the modernization page. Look for the MFPDM user manual. Okay, and thank you, Nancy. What else do we have here? Oh, okay. Thank you for reiterating that question. When is access to our legacy systems going away? So please keep in mind, if you have been provided an account in MyGinnieMae, the expectation is that you use that MyGinnieMae account. Going back and forth between MyGinnieMae and directly accessing our legacy systems, so using your new credentials and your old credentials can create some system errors and complications that we do not want you to experience. So if you have a MyGinnieMae account, please use your MyGinnieMae account to access GMEP, GinnieNet, and MFPDM, okay? But in terms of when the old credentials to go directly to those legacy systems is going to happen, your target date is May 11th. Communications have already started going out to your organization administrators. The end users of their systems will receive e-notifications, and there will be more messages happening in the upcoming weeks prior to us removing or disabling those old credentials. So for the wave 1 multifamily issuers, so for MyGinnieMae onboarding wave 1, which is our multifamily issuers, your old credentials will no longer be valid beginning May 11th. Okay. Do I have other questions on the line?
Yeah, we got one from Kathleen Connolly. Kathleen, if you unmute yourself, you can go ahead.
Kathleen, in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, there should be a microphone that will allow you to unmute yourself.
There you go. Looks like you are unmuted now. Can you hear us? Maybe not.
Sorry, Kathleen, we can't hear you. Do we have another question on the line can we come back to Kathleen?
Nothing else.
Okay. Oh, Kathleen, it looks like you unmuted yourself again. Can you try again?
And Kathleen, if you're listening to us via the phone, just hit *9, and that'll bring up your phone that we can unmute. Sometimes people have the video on their PC and audio on the phone. We can follow up
Kathleen,
with yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Kathleen, you're also welcome to type your question into the Q&A. Oh, I gotcha. Thanks.
Yeah, it looks like she's all good.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Any other questions on the line?
Nothing at this time.
Okay. Okay, folks. Hopefully we were able to answer your questions and give you a good demonstration of the new multifamily pool delivery module. We've received some really great feedback on this. Our development teams and the multifamily team at MyGinnieMae paid a lot of attention and put a lot of care and detail into developing this application to give you what they thought it was that you would be happy with. And so once you begin to use it, if you have not already, I think you're going to enjoy it. It definitely gives you a lot more transparency and insight into the status of your pools. And hopefully you'll be if you have not already, you'll be submitting pools through Fpdm very, very soon. Thank you for joining us today. Please don't forget to complete that survey, and we'll talk again soon. Thank you.